I just wanted to ask quickly, Rinat, have you warmed up a little bit to Shumwon? Because I know me and Alfie, we back him a little bit more than you and Mufi, but from yeah.
I warmed up to the fact that we don't have a better alternative right now, and he's someone that's.
Hey guys, welcome to the 32nd episode of The Yorker. We just lost the series. We lost the second ODI. That means it's now a dead rubber for the third one. A lot of us were expecting to do better. I think most of us here. And so really disappointed in how we went down so easy, it seemed, versus New Zealand. Uh, I don't know. What do you guys think? Renat?
Um, yeah, it was disappointing. I mean, the loss not so much, but the fact that there was literally zero improvement from the first game, that's probably the more disappointing part. A part of me knew that we're probably still gonna lose the second one just by seeing how uncompetitive the first one was. But I just thought we would be more competitive, and that didn't happen. Uh, we can talk more about why that is the case, but I think it's literally the same thing that happened in the first game, right? If you think about it, our top order failed, our seam attack failed. That's it. It's the same thing, same scenario. But it was a big toss to lose, though. I would say, like I feel like, we said that at the end of the first ODI that us chasing a score would have been so much better. I don't know if we would win the game, but it would have been easier on our batsmen. Maybe they would be able to post a higher score, which would in return give them more confidence going forward, right? But that didn't happen.
Uh, I don't know if these conditions are that bad for batting. I think that we just the main thing, and Mufi, he disagreed on the WhatsApp group. He's not here today, but I'm sure we can get his thoughts after the third ODI when we do the next podcast. But he to me it came down to the big three, Tamim, Mushi and Riyadh. They haven't contributed anything. I think in 6 innings combined, they have less than 50 runs total as an aggregate. So for any team, it's going to be difficult to compete at that stage. If you knock down the top three batsmen of a side, and whatever side that is, then you're going to win. So I don't think it should be surprising. But what is surprising is that those three have failed in 6 consecutive innings. And hopefully they don't make it 9 consecutive innings. And I don't think that for them all to fail in one game is pretty rare. For them all to fail in 2 games is even more rare. So I hope that they can, and New Zealand's going to they're going to rest some players for the next game. So I hope that we take full advantage and get a consolation victory against with New Zealand testing their bench strength. But even their bench, like Saudi's going to come in. He's probably a starter. He's a starting player for their main side. So he's going to come in place of probably Bolt. And Kane Williamson's going to get dropped, so they'll probably bring some other batsman in.
Colin
Monroe.
Yeah.
It's true. Our big guys have failed to step up, and when your senior player, when your lead players fail, you're going to have a very tough time in a series. Let's just hope that they get their failures out here and they play well in the test series.
Right, and that's the feeling I get with people who are saying that they're treating this as just an experiment for the World Cup. Like Alfie, you've said that, and then you also mentioned another format. But everything is going away from the ODI, it seems. Not for the World Cup and not for the test, but just like I know rankings they're gonna reset everything, so it's not gonna matter anyway. But suppose it did, and then I just don't know. Us being ranked as a number 7 team now, I don't think we conducted ourselves in a matter worthy of that, especially when we see now other ICC members that are doing better abroad. Like India, we always do so good against them, but they beat New Zealand in New Zealand in the ODIs, and pretty comprehensively too. Those weren't really close matches. When they beat
Yeah.
them good. And so I was kind of hoping we could do something similar, at least get close. So this is kind of a rock bottom for me, simply because of the fact that in both of the matches they're not competitive.
Mhm.
I would have taken a narrower defeat, but this is very very hard to digest. And I think you both of you guys are right. The seniors didn't step up. Normally the narrative goes something like this: the juniors they fail to support them. But in this case, Mithun, a newcomer, well, he's not that young. I think it's
Yeah.
25 or 26. But
No, I think he's 27 or 28. Guy's pretty old.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
He's
he's a junior in terms of being a
yeah,
newcomer.
in terms of experience, yeah, a newcomer.
So it was a shame, really, that no one could support Mithun and or Saifuddin in the first innings. I thought that was a good innings as well. And who else should we talk about? Shabir. I mean, he wasn't supposed to be here in the first place, but he showed some signs. He didn't go down that easy. But that's another thing I wanted to talk about. The management seems to be very arrogant. Like they don't listen to us at all. And
Well, I don't think management should be looking to listen to fans, no matter how well informed we might be. But I can see what they're trying to do. Their theory, behind picking, let's say 15, 16, 17 guys in the year up in the 1 year leading up to the World Cup, and saying these are the guys we're going to pick, these are the players that we're going to go with, and and then they pick these guys and they stick with them. So I'm not necessarily going to criticize them for that. Um, although I do disagree that with some of the players that have been picked, I wouldn't have had Mithun in the squad, but he's been our leading scorer. Now, does that mean that he should be have a guaranteed spot in the 11? I don't know. It's difficult to say no, given that he's top scored in 2 innings, 2 back-to-back 50s.
mm,
But I think that a player, should have gone on to score a little bit bigger runs. If not 100, at least get an 80, 90, something like that. But he's gotten out shortly after getting a couple of 50s, which is a bit disappointing. But
yeah,
let's see what happens in the third OEI. Let's see what happens in the test matches to really.
It- it-
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but for me, from my perspective, it really dampens the mood. Like to be honest with you, I might just watch the highlights of the third one because I really thought we had a shot at taking this to the third ODI, but now it's a dead rubber, so it didn't work out in our favor. And keep in mind, I watched the majority of the second ODI. They gave us a lot of chances. Altogether, 4 drops in total. Taylor dropped 2 dollies in the slips, so it could have been much worse actually for us. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get positives here, but except for Mithun and Saifuddin's good fights that they put on in the first ODI, I fail to see many positives. And uh, looking at the bowling side too, Rinat, I was kind of secretly hoping they could maybe work a miracle or something like that. Mashrafi and
Yeah, I was too. I was too.
they,
So,
they didn't do that either. So, do you see any positives, Rinat, for these two?
Not really. I mean, if you look at our bowling attack, it's even our pace attack, which has been very effective, by the way. Like in 2018, our seamers have done way better than our spinners, and that has been the trend over the last few years in general. But when we step out of subcontinent, what happens is that guys like Mashrafi, guys like Mostafiz, their advantage of using the slowness of the pitch, it kind of disappears. That advantage kind of disappears, right? From then on, you kind of have to rely on like either swing or a lot of pace, which none of the pacers really have. Rubel is the closest to a full-on seamer that we have in the side, and he's not playing. And I'm not going to talk about why he's not playing because I think it doesn't make sense to either one of us, and it doesn't make sense to 99% of the fans right now.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is, whether it's for resting him or for whatever reason it is, it's other than him, we don't really have a bowling attack that is very effective. And then adding to that, when you are actually about 100 runs short, as a captain or as a bowler, you can't set the batsman up. It doesn't work like that. To set a batsman up, you need to put the batsman under pressure. And when the team that's batting second is already at a 100-run advantage, that batsman is never going to be under pressure. Like you could see Kane Williamson yesterday, when he was basically, he scored like 10 runs of the first 30 deliveries. He was still under no pressure. But if the score was 300, he would have been in pressure to score more runs, right? So, bowling, again, not very effective, but it's we don't, our bowlers are not made for those conditions, and then B, our batsmen aren't really giving the bowlers a fair chance to do so.
Right, right.
I mean, if there was a case where our team scored 300 runs and then New Zealand chased it down in 45 overs, we would have been like, yeah, you know what? You guys had a total. You guys were not competitive, but that was not the case.
Right, right. No, I totally agree. And I actually forgot, I wanted to start this podcast off by just making a joke saying that we got 2 moral victories, we crossed 200. But it's 2019 now. If you score anything under 250, you just write a blank check to the bowlers. Like, here's your excuse, take it home. You don't have to do anything. Your batsman didn't back you up. So,
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. I mean, unless there's an exceptionally difficult wicket to bat on, that's actually pretty true. 250 is a bare bones minimum score that you've got to have these days in ODIs, and we were in the 230, 225 range. I think Rinat made a lot of great points here. We really don't have the bowling attack to blast out teams, in these types of conditions. Now, again, you could say, main thing, batsmen didn't step up, because when you have those additional 50 runs, 70 runs, 80 runs, 100 runs, whatever it might be, that makes the bowling automatically a little bit more potent because they've got that pressure situation to work on. So, we might see that just the mere fact of Tamim, Riyad, and Mushi and Shakib in the World Cup, they scoring some runs, the bowling automatically looks more potent.
yeah.
So,
I wanted to briefly touch upon this point. The seniors, they failed, but we shouldn't split hairs. But then again, we have to talk about stuff. So if we compare the ones who failed, I don't think Mushi did too bad. He always seems to be in good touch. He made some poor decisions. That's how he got out. So he did a bit better, I would say, than Tamim and Riyad, even if you just look at the scores. And
Well, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm sorry to cut you off,
No,
but I think
yeah.
I think most of the blame for the 2 lost games goes to the first 3 batsmen. Okay, there is a reason why Tamim is an opener. There's a reason why Shomo and Liton are top order batsmen, right? If 3 of your top order batsmen fail twice in a row, you can't blame the middle order batsmen for not recovering from a collapse and then scoring big innings and then finishing well to win a game. That's way too much task you're leaving to a middle order batsman. I know they have done it. I know Mushi has done it in the past. I know Riyad has done it in the past, right? But you can't be expecting that to happen every day, right? And there's a reason why Tamim is an opener, right? There's a reason why Shomo is number 3. I mean, if you look at any freaking team in this world, right? There's barely, even India would not, if they were 3 down under 20 runs, 9.9 out of 10 games, they're not going to win that game, right? Doesn't matter how strong of a middle order you have.
I know, but India being India, they actually did that in one of the games versus New Zealand. It was Tony and someone else after 3 down. But India being India, they can do those things.
No, but we have done that too. We have done that too, right? We have done that against New Zealand in England, right? A couple years ago.
Yeah, in the championship.
But I'm just saying, you can't be expecting that every day. Like 3 or 4 down, 2 middle order batsmen comes in. Not only do they have to stop the collapse, they have to keep the runs flowing because it's a batting friendly wicket, and then they have to finish well because there is no backup at the back end of the inning.
Right.
That's a hell lot of a task to expect.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. And for that, I'm not gonna blame Tamim because he's an incredible average ever since the World Cup. Touching 50 almost.
That's probably why you should be blaming him, though, because someone of that experience, of that much class, you shouldn't be this clueless. He was clueless though in the second ODI. in 28 deliveries, he had 5 runs, right?
Yeah,
And he just kept building pressure for Liton and Shomo, and then he just got himself out, right? You can't be that clueless when you're the best batsman in the side.
no, that's a great point. But Rinat, I thought the reason he did that was because he was so worried about the other guys. Because whenever Tamim goes down, we see like a collapse happening. So he was so worried that he wanted to preserve his wicket at any cost. Anyway, the point I wanted to make was, so statistically speaking, I understand your point, but I understand why you could also give him a pass on those 2 innings. Liton, that was bad. If I have to single out one guy, maybe it's unfair. It's kind of cruel to do so, but again, if you touch these topics, the way he got out in the second ODI was just terrible. Like, just what do you call it? Trying a lofted drive like that. He looked clueless as well, and I was expecting something more from Liton. Shomo at least
Well,
gave us that good blinding innings in the
well,
first ODI.
Leeton had to be the aggressor there, right? With Tamim not scoring any runs whatsoever. I mean, you can be 20 runs after 10 overs. You're even if you have 10 wickets in hand, you are not going to win many games from there,
It
right?
makes sense. Yeah, it makes
So
sense to me. Yeah.
so I think that was the plan that Leeton's gonna go be the aggressive guy he is, and then Tamim's gonna hold one end. But the problem was Tamim wasn't just holding one end; he was just dead batting everything. And when you do that, you put pressure in the opposite on the other end.
Yeah, totally.
So, but yeah, I think on Leeton's point though, I think his time is up. Like it's up, up, and up. I think he got get out of the jail pass with that 100 against India because he was at that point on his way out, and then he got that pass, and he got a fair bit of games after that, and he failed on all of them. So I think it's time that they bring the hammer down on him. And
So here's the thing: should we go back to Imrul as the opening batsman for the World Cup?
it doesn't matter who you go back to. Even if you go back to Mirage, it's not going to be worse than Leeton, right? So
Yeah.
right now, the argument should be to drop him. That's the first thing that needs to be done. Who you pick after it's for me though. I was talking to Al Furqan yesterday, and I actually think for the third ODI, Shadman needs to be the opener, simply because it's a dead rubber. But if we can give Shadman that one game, it's basically a practice game for him for the test matches. I don't care about the results for the third ODI anymore. But for me, I just want to see Shadman getting that practice in these conditions. It will prep him a little bit for the test series.
Right, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. I don't know how much we're going to talk about the tests, but yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I think it's a wonderful.
Well, it's a big test tour. We need to have at least one podcast for each test match.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We will.
We'll plan it out. I just wanted to ask quickly, Rinat, have you warmed up a little bit to Shumwoo? Because I know me and Alfie, we back him a little bit more than you and Mufi, but from yeah.
I warmed up to the fact that we don't have a better alternative right now, and he's someone that's scoring some runs. So as long as you're contributing even to a bare minimum level, like I have no problem. Same goes with Shabir, right? I don't want him in the squad, but if he's contributing, he can stay. But so for Shomo, I just thought that they brought him in too early, but since they did, he played some decent knocks, so he stays for now. But again, if they're gonna rely on him to score runs, it's not gonna happen most days. Like he has to be considered as like a pinch hitter up the order who's just gonna come and score some quick runs.
Right.
He's not a reliable batsman by any means.
Right. And again, I think it came down to the management being very stubborn, and it's not just us four when Mufi's here making the suggestions. It's a wider body of fans. It's like the wisdom of crowd. When enough people say something, maybe you should listen. You should actually include Kayas in the squad, and things of that nature.
Well, no, management has done that. I'm sorry to cut you off. I don't believe that crowds can make bad decisions. So I don't believe that the management should, as a matter of policy, take into consideration fan opinions, no matter how unanimous it might be, even if it's the right decision. I think I don't, and I think that Rinat was mentioning a few podcasts ago, several weeks ago, that the selectors don't seem to have any set method or
Criteria.
criteria to their selections, and I actually kind of support that. I think there should be some flexibility. But the flip side of that someone might criticize me for would be that I am advocating that selectors should have double standards for certain players. So if you have a young, talented player, for example, let's say that you pick Nazmul Hussain Shanto, I think he should get a longer run than say Ariful Haq or even Mithun. Because Mithun's not young. I mean, at the top end, what you're going to get is 6 or 7 years from him. Whereas if you pick a Shanto, you could get a 15-year career out of that guy. So I'm always going to be in favor of young players. It's just a personal bias that I have. So
That's understood, but that's going at a macro level. Like, would you disagree that Kai should have been? He should have been in the squad, is what I'm saying.
I think guys got injured too. After when the debate was going on about whether he's gonna come to New Zealand, I think he also got injured. So that's probably why he's not there. Doesn't matter though. I mean, again, they have Shadman in the squad. I think they should try him now.
Right. The reason I brought it up was it kind of explains why things went down the way they did in the second ODI. Them not having a clear-cut plan, and then us not performing. So since we covered everything already, let's just quickly pivot to the third ODI. We'll just talk about the selections there. So you talked about bringing in Shadman. Any other suggestions, plans you have?
Well, Rubel, right? I mean, it's almost funny at this point. If you don't bring him in, he's not in the test squad. So why did you bring him in New Zealand in the first place, right? And then him being one of our top bowlers last year, so it's not adding up, honestly.
It's not.
So he should be playing, and then Naeem Hassan again should be coming in. If they have any plans for him for the test series, he should be playing this game just to get used to these conditions.
Yeah, I agree.
For
bring
now,
Rubel
results don't matter. Yeah, for now, results don't matter anymore.
Exactly.
Bring Rubel, bring Naeem in, and I don't have any problem with having Shadman in opening. I mean, I'm not hugely in favor of it, but it's not a bad idea.
No, I love the idea. I love it. I don't like Test as much, and I wasn't going to watch the third ODI, but now since you guys have mentioned it, I think you should give Naeem and Shadman the chance. And then if they do good, it's going to build up hope in fans like me.
And if we're doing that, we might as well put Mominul in as well. Have him replace somebody too in the because he's very important to the Test team, and he's there. He was fielding as a substitute fielder in the second match. I saw him. So Mominul's already in there. He went on a little vacation right after the BPO. I think when the first batch of players were headed off to New Zealand, he was still on vacation in Bondorbon or something.
Well, Mominul actually played in New Zealand, though. The whole reason I wanted to bring in Shadman and Naeem is because they have never played away from Bangladesh. That was my reason. Mominul has plenty of experience, so if they don't bring him in, I understand. But yeah, they can, right? At this point, since it's a dead rubber, you may as well prepare for the series that you still have a chance in, right?
Yeah. And for dropping players, I think they should drop Leeton for sure. Because now if you play in the third ODI and say he gets 100, he buys himself, another 10 matches?
Well, guys, it's going to be interesting. It's going to get very interesting because Mushi is suffering from an injury. He's going to go through a scan, so we don't know if he's going to play the third.
Well, what kind of injury does he have?
He has a rib cage injury. So he's suffering from some pain. So he's injured from there. He's undecided for the third. Mithun is vastly undecided too with his hamstring injury. So Mithun might not be playing. So you have two key guys that are not going to make it. So in that case, Leeton is going to play because he's the only other keeper, right? Leeton is probably going to get a free pass again. But then again, if those two, even if one of those two doesn't play, you will definitely see a new player coming in. Like there's no way it's going to be the same squad in the third.
I mean, they really need to bring, especially with Shakib out, I would say bring in Mossadegh Hussain, bring in Yasser Ali for the tests. And I would say in that order, Mossadegh and then Yasser. I mean, if Mithun is injured, if Mushi's questionable, Shakib is probably going to miss the entire test series. I would really bring both of those guys in on the plane and give them a chance at some stage. But that's just me personally. People might disagree. I know a lot of people on BC Forum think Mossadegh is useless against pace. I mean, his one ODI 50 was in New Zealand, and he was specking guys like Lockie Ferguson around.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like a brilliant knock, but he had a 50 at over a run a ball, 50 off, I think, 45 balls or 40 balls, at the death. I mean, he did it against pace. There was, Saudi was playing, Ferguson was playing, and we've seen how fast Ferguson is. It's not like Ferguson was slower 2 years ago. He was bowling at the same pace he is today. So, the idea that Mossadegh can't play pace, I don't know where people get that idea, because where have we seen him play pace? Like in New Zealand, like he actually did okay. And then, like, what other internationals have we seen him? Like, we saw him face a handful of deliveries in the Champions Trophy, and from that basis, you can't say that he can't play pace.
Clearly, our entire lineup struggles against pace. I mean, that's
So
if you're gonna,
criteria for
you can bring him in. I have no problems with that. Things are not.
Mossadegh, I feel like the idea that he can't play pace, it comes from the fact that in a lot of the limited over games, he came in crunch situations, and against seamers he was unable to rotate strikes or hit it. So that's a different, I think, though. But it could be the fact that yes, Mossadegh is probably not a pinch hitter. Or Mossadegh is probably
he's not a pinch hitter. He
probably doesn't do well in crunch situations. But again, Test is a different ball game altogether.
Right.
But yeah, I do agree. He could be brought in.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about Test.
Yeah. I do too, by the way, for the record, Alfie. I back players, and I also like it when other fans back players, because we should, in our own little heads, we should play the role of selector too, if we really care about the team.
No. I mean, yeah, we do that. Yeah.
All right. So thanks, guys, for joining. I think this was about it. Really sad that we couldn't at least take it down to the third game. Would give us more hope, but let's hope they make the changes and make the, start getting ready for the tests, and we'll have more things to look forward to. So thanks, Rinat. Thanks, Alfie, for joining. We'll see you on the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, guys. Good night.